La play ka booking nakabenta ka kalitata Nexon. One ka Frank Motors Lightco, lani phone hau number harum bantip company.
Kakunhun menteri mendagasi kala rai bakan pendamno ya ka jingete Soskular bat ki company nagamdagi artli ki project pinmi boarding ka bakan thop ya ka Kynshi 1 hydroelectric project bat ka upper Khri stage 1 but 2 project. Umenteri rangba ulaong ba ka jing pendam ya ka Soskular ka day namar bala syam bakam long ka bayo jing mento ya ka jylla bar ka jinglut ban pentrai ru along ka bajubor nalo ka jing penslam jing ki company ban pentrai ya kini ka project ka bala ya soy nudu usnam arajar nyo ya ka Kynshi project baru arajar khat ar ya ka Khri project andai ha ka ju ka por ulaong ba ka Sorkar kan thau ya ka lat ban pentrai kami kini ka project dagi bay pat klenti ulong ru ba ka jing pendam ya ka ya ka Soskular kanum kta AA ni lut AA ya ka Sorkar.
So the memorandum of agreement for the Kynshi was in 2007, and the Upper Khri project. I don't have that. It was about 10 years back, so I'll have to. Yeah, so the government and the power department invited expression of interest in 2012. And a letter of intent to the party for undertaking the Upper Khri project was given to them on 11th January 2013. No, there were different aspects that were there. Details, of course, all the aspects or details, technical aspects will be very long to go into, but in a nutshell, the technical viability of the project was impacted. The water level, they had studied again. In the initial stage, they had given a larger amount, but then later on, depending on the topography and depending on the water availability out there, the size of the project had to be reduced. And it came to a 270 megawatt project. And then after that, again, because of the fact that all the investments that were to be made with a smaller project and a smaller size of the output, the viability of the project was not there anymore. So it was purely on the basis of technical viability. No, it's like this. There is no stopping of thing. We are looking at the viability of the project right now. So let me just share with you. Upper Khri project today, if we go ahead with this project and we don't cancel it because of the time frame that is taken to implement it and because of the technical feasibility that has not come up or whatever you call it. Today in Upper Khri project, the unit cost is coming to approximately 9 rupees per unit. And in Kynshi, it's coming up to approximately 8 rupees per unit, which is completely unviable. So today, we are purchasing power even at 3 rupees, 2 rupees, 4 rupees, 5, 6 rupees, and of course on a high demand point it goes to 8, 9, 10 rupees. So when we know that the project cost is going to make us have to buy project at 8 rupees, it already is unviable. So it will not be prudent on our part or proper on our part to go ahead knowing that that is the unit cost that's going to come in. So we can go ahead with the project, but then everybody should know that the cost will be 8 rupees. As for me, I don't think that's a correct step, and hence we need to redesign the project, relook at it. I'll just give you a small example what's happening. Now the Kynshi project, there is something called a pump storage technology now, where the water is allowed to be released, power is generated, power is then the water is stored. Once the power is generated, water is stored downstream. The water is stored downstream, then again using cheap power which is available through solar, which during the daytime is not sellable because daytime the power consumption is not as high or demand is not high. Use that solar power from any part of the country or the world to pump up the water back up the stream before the power generation, and then again release it back. This is called a pump storage technology, which is now becoming very, very popular throughout the country and throughout the world. And it's being found as a very, very reasonable and viable way to make a project actually profitable. Kynshi, we're exploring the water pump storage technology. And once we add that, what is the cost factor and which technology partners will be able to implement it, we need to look at it. So therefore, keeping in mind, 2007 technology which was put into place does not look viable today. So therefore, we are re-looking into that. So hence the question of us not going with private sector is not the question. We are going with what is in the best interest of the state. It'll all depend on what the situation is. And as I said, that it's not that we want to scrap projects and we just don't want to do it. It's not that. That should not be your headlines tomorrow. The headlines is simply that these projects are unviable. We will have to buy power at 8 to 9 rupees today from these two plants, which is not acceptable. And hence, we would want better technology to be implemented. Hence, we are going for another expression of interest for the same projects, and maybe the same parties will apply again. There's no problem. Or other parties may apply. And as soon as possible, we'll go ahead, because a lot of time has been wasted also. They have not managed to go, into the project thing. Technology is now outdated and rates are too high. And hence, we are going to make sure that we move in a faster manner by going for the expression of interest, fresh one with fresh technology, and pursue these projects in whatever way we can. So there are two parts to this. Number one, that again I have to give me a slight patient hearing here. So what happened was there was a power swapping arrangement that was made earlier, years back, where the units were swapped. So when we took power, when we were generating high, during seasons like now, and we were giving power to certain other providers and other states, other companies, and we were taking back power from them in the month of December, January, February, March, April, when we are not having enough water supply. Rain, so our power generation would go down. And hence, that basic power swapping arrangements made is still being today given to those people as we speak. So today we are, out of the 4 million units, 2 million units are being paid back to the power suppliers or power generation companies, which gave us power in the month of March, April, May. We are paying them back now by giving power. So by our units. So that's where is number one, the issue. So what happens is that now we have changed that model. Now that's why we have tied up with NTPC. The agreement with NTPC and MOU is actually now to arrange this power swapping or power management portfolio of ours, so that we don't have to go into this extreme kind of a power swapping scenario, and we are able to manage the power much better. So therefore, the expertise of NTPC, their manpower, their entire production capacity, and their entire network throughout the country and internationally will allow us to be able to manage things in a better manner. So that's number one. So we are still giving power swapping even now, but we are that will end on 30th of September. That's number one. Number two, I have maintained from day one that, which again you have to note, that Meghalaya government is still supporting MECL with hundreds of crores of financial support to still buy power and for their other running expenditures, because the revenue generation is not enough. And obviously we have a lot of AT&C losses, and other regulatory commission issues are there where the rates are not being justified. So apart from all of this, what's happening is that we have maintained, I have been very clear with the public also, that we will continue the load shedding for 2 to 3 hours, because in the night time there is not so much of inconvenience for the people. By 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, it's not so inconvenient. But you'll be happy to know that because of this model that we have adopted of using this power that we have and selling it in the market today, we are actually earning positive revenue out of this. And today MECL is actually seeing that the net amount of revenue that we earn from purchase and sale of power is for the first time positive in many, many years. So actually MECL is earning money today by selling power which we store in, say, Umyam Lake, Umyam Reservoir, and we produce it at 1 o'clock in the night. A large amount of revenue comes in for the state from there, for MECL, that is. And that helps us to bridge the gap between the financial challenges that MECL faces. So hence, one has to see the larger picture and realize that there are numerous challenges. Obviously, we are trying our best to minimize, and that's why you've seen that we have now brought it down just to 1 to 2 hours, and that too in times and timings which are more convenient for the people and does not affect them too much. And we are avoiding having load shedding during the important times of the year. And this will continue, as I said. This basic load shedding will continue because this is the power that we are able to sell and bridge the gap between the revenue and loss of MECL, which allows MECL to become more stable. So these are very important factors which you, and through your question, thankful public will also come to know that these are the challenges we face, and that we are trying to manage this. And hopefully, as I said, as we move along and as we are able to manage our portfolio in a much better manner, we will see much more smoother power supply in the future. So my goal being that rather than having 8-9 hours of load shedding, say in the month of March, April, May, June, July, it's better to have say 1 hour throughout the year, and then or 2 hours throughout the year, and and being able to manage it in a better manner. It makes more sense for us to do so rather than having extreme. Is that going to happen or not? Well, I can't say right now. I hope it will, but that is what our goal is. And hence, just because we have additional power, we just start using it in the way we want to use it. As I said earlier also, may not be the most prudent manner in handling the situation. Let us look forward to the next 6 months, 8 months, 10 months on how the power supply will be, and based on that take the decision now so that we are able to minimize the inconvenience to the people even in 2024 April, May, June. So all these factors are being looked at.